Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Web Learnex. This is Virendra Kumar Singh. Today I am going to explain how to use the @bin annotation in Spring Boot. So let's get started. So in XML configuration we have used the @bin. First we need to create the beans, then inside of beans id is equal to some id like first some id and name is equal to some bin name, and the class is equal to define the path of that class. This is the way we have created the bin in XML configuration /beans. This is the way to create the beans in XML configuration. And in Java based bin creation we have used the I have one username, a user bean. So we have created the user one id user is equal to new user. So this is the traditional way to create the any beans. Like here I have created the one user bean, and here I have created the one first bean. But it is the very traditional old way to create the beans. So Spring in Spring Boot, Spring provide the @ bean annotation. It will automatically create the any beans. No need to create beans using up new operator or using up XML based configuration. So let's understand how we can create the beans using up Spring Java code configuration. So let me open my Eclipse. So I have already set up one bin annotation class, and so here I have create one beans. I have create two way to create the beans. One is the traditional way and other is the using up Spring way. So first let me show you how to create the beans of traditional way. So let's suppose I have create one company, and company have the company name and address, associate one address. So here is the address association. In address I have street and number. So and when I going to create beans as traditional, so this is the traditional way to create the bean. So I have created first address and pass the constructor value. If you can observe in address, I have created one argument constructor here. So this is the argument constructor, and in beans I have create the first address, then I pass the address in company, and this is my address and company name is Apple. I have passed. So this is the way to create the traditional beans. But in Spring bin creation, let me show you. I have one company with Spring Boot beans class, and I have used the @component annotation. This component annotation basically used to load this class at the time of project load. Means when the project going to load, then automatically this bin annotation help to load that beans. So this is the my company beans, and I have create one address bin. In address bin I have used uh, in address with Spring I have replicate same thing, street and number, and I have create one package bin config package. Inside of config package, I have create one bin configuration class. So in this configuration, you can observe here, I have create one beans here. So sorry, this one. So this is the beans. I have create one beans company Spring, and I want to pass the company informations. So it will create one instance of company. This instance automatically load when project will load. So inside of company beans, it will create the address bin, and I pass here the company name as Oppo. So this is the associated beans, means when one class have associate to other class. So this is the company, and here I associate the address bin. And I have created one other example. So simple, how to create the beans of simple class. So I have created one user class here. In this user class, I have create ID and address, name and address, two different attribute of this class. And in bin annotation configuration, I have created the simple beans, means I did not pass the any value in these beans, means all the name and address default value is null. And I pass the one because I am going to create the two beans of same class, so we need to identify the beans name also. This is the qualifier name. Springboot provide the qualifier annotation to differentiate the two different bin of the same class. So I'm going to add the two qualifier here. One is the simple user and one is the user constant. And in second beans, I have used the init method and destroy method. Means in init method, uh, when the beans going to load, it will automatically call this method. So if you observe in user, I created one, it's a entry point method. So when beans going to load, it will automatically call this method. And in destroy method, it will destroy when the bean going to destroy. So this will execute the exit method. You can observe here, I create the one exit method here. So this being bin annotation, we can add the uh, init method, destroy method, name. If you want to pass the multiples name, you can use the curly braces and comma separated. You can pass the multiples bin name, means multiple qualifier. So this way you can pass the multiple qualifier, but I'm not going to demonstrate this. So this is the bin annotation creation process. Let me compile and build and show you. And one more thing here, I have create one controller. In this controller, I have called the simple user beans, mean it will pick the this bin because the qualifier name is simple bin. So it will pick the simple bin, and this annotation will pick the constructor user beans. This is the traditional beans process, and I have created 4 different endpoint to show the each and every types of example. Like when I call this endpoint, then it will call the traditional method, means whatever we have passed here, it will shown. And spring approach bin, it will call all details of spring approach bins, means it will show the this approach output. And for the constructor method, it will show the constructor how to create the how to call the constructor beans, and this is the normal way. So let me build and deploy and test it. Let me build it. Maven clean is done. Let me install. Let me run the project. So I'm going to run in debug mode this project. You can observe here when I have run the project, then by default I got one message. This message. This is the entry point of bin because of I have configured the @init method. Sorry, not it's the init method. So let me show you again. I have observed here init method. So because in init method I have passed the entry point. So this is the my entry point method. So this is the printing the message on the console. So my build is successfully running. Let me deploy and check with the UI. So this is the my URL folder. So by default URL is slash. Let me open my browser. So this is my browser. Let me hit this. So here you can observe it's showing application up and running because I am, and you observe here it's showing the entry point and null because when I'm using this approach means user dot entry point, you can observe here user is this variable and this is the simple qualifier of this bin creation method. So by default it create the bin object, but it put the default value of string and we did not pass the here any constructor value. That's why it's getting the all value is the null. So you can observe in output here. So this is the first. Let me call this method, this const user const. So in this method you can get the same message on UI, but let me show you on the console. So if you observe here, I have passed the same method, so that's why it's getting the same message. But here I got the some user informations like test and ABC. So where I have passed the test value. If you can observe here, I pass the test and ABC here in this configuration. So that's why it's a coming test and ABC. In third traditional way, this is the associated way, means I'm going to associate one bin inside of any other bins. So this is the traditional way. So it will call this bin output. So let me show you. Now you can observe here, it's calling the company name is Apple and number and street is the test. Here I pass the company name as Apple and address street, test street and number is the 1000. And last is Spring approach way. Now you got the company name is Oppo and other information of address is 10,000 and test street Spring. So let me show you here in configuration, bin configuration, I have passed all this information inside of this. So because this bin is calling, so that's why it's getting this message. So friends, I'm going to commit this project on my GitHub and pass the URL in comment, so you can try from your side. And thank you watching my video. Please subscribe my channel and share and press the bell icon for the notification. Thanks.